Welcome to Subscription Prescription, the podcast where you get the information you need to scale your subscription program. Hello and welcome to another dose of Subscription Prescription. I'm your host, Matthew Holman, and this is the podcast where we talk about everything related to D2C subscriptions. This episode, I'm going to do a little bit of a refresh here for you. For those of you that are fairly new to the newsletter or podcast, or maybe you've been listening for the last 6 months, I'd like to do a little bit of a better job of introducing myself, how I got into subscriptions, and what I'm currently doing in the subscription space now, so you can have a better idea if I'm a total quack kind of subscription doc, or if I'm the kind of guy that you want really operating on your subscription program. So, as a little bit of a recap, I kind of like to tell the story from actually in the lens of how I met my wife. So before I got into subscriptions, I was working at a shipping company called eHub here in Utah. And that's actually where I met my wife, who happened to be the CEO's sister. Which for those of you that may or may not be following along, that's not always necessarily the best career move to start dating your boss's sister. So two things kind of came up. One, for the health of that relationship, and wanted to kind of keep going all in on that. It felt like a really good idea to start looking at some other options, but I also was getting a little bit of that entrepreneur bug. I'd started doing a little bit of consulting and a little bit more marketing, and kind of wanted to get out there and take an old swing at the old SaaS game, as a lot of us here do in Utah. Great SaaS entrepreneurship community. So I actually responded to a little bit of a LinkedIn message and was connected with an incredible person, a close friend and my partner, David Bradley. And David is the founder of QPilot, or Autoship Cloud, which is a subscription platform that used to be primarily on WooCommerce. And so when we met, he was looking for a marketing co-founder. So I was totally eager to jump in. My background was in, shipping, logistics at that point. I think David at one point said, if I could write a blog that makes shipping sound interesting, then I should be able to talk about subscriptions in a way that doesn't put people to sleep. Hopefully you're still listening, and we've proven that is actually true. So we started working at QPilot, and one of the interesting things is just trying to figure out how to market SaaS, the competitive nature, the competitive landscape. And kind of two things happened while I was working at QPilot that drastically changed the trajectory of my career and our business. The first of those is that we were starting to look at Shopify as a next integration, and as a means of kind of like preparing a beachhead to try to get potential Shopify customers. We decided to rebrand our newsletter, which up to that point had been primarily about Autoship Cloud, and to call it something fun and try to help people understand subscriptions. And so David, who, while he's incredibly technical and product focused, actually has a degree in advertising, came up with the brand name Subscription Prescription, and that I would be the subscription doc or doctor. So we started with that newsletter primarily to try to get leads for QPilot as we were looking to get into Shopify. And the second thing that had been happening is we had started to focus looking at our own customers on QPilot and trying to figure out how we can help them grow. Because for those of you that currently have a subscription software, you know that the subscription software makes money off of a monthly plan fee, but also off percentage of sale or a usage fee, some component. So the more your business grows, the more money they make. And at QPilot, we were thinking the same things, trying to figure out helping brands understand what they were doing well, what they were doing poorly, how they could make more money because it would make us more money. So those two things were happening, and we're using a lot of our learnings from QPilot's customers and a lot of what was seeing more and more in the space to influence what we wrote about in Subscription Prescription. I kind of makes me cringe a little bit probably to think about how those first 10 or 20 newsletter episodes started or came out. But as Subscription Prescription started to grow, a lot of the feedback we got back was actually people were not interested in QPilot. They were, however, really interested in understanding how to do better at subscriptions. Both David and I kind of took this as a big sign that, hey, there's an opportunity here. There's not very many people talking about subscriptions, and 99% of the voices are from the app perspective. Yes, trying to help you do better with their app or help you enable the right experiences, but they were somewhat biased. And so we saw a huge opportunity in the market. So we were only a few months into Subscription Prescription as a newsletter when we decided, like, hey, this needs to be independent. This needs to not be about QPilot or Autoship Cloud. This just needs to be about best practices because that's where we think the opportunity was. And for me, having worked with our clients to grow their businesses, I realized that that was actually something I was really good at, if not even special at, compared to being a SaaS marketing leader, right? I think I did a pretty good job at that, but there are a lot of people that are probably better at marketing SaaS than I am. But when it comes to like understanding this whole subscription problem from end to end, from acquisition all the way through to fulfillment, there's not too many people that have like a lot of experience and understand the problems the way that I do and that our team does as well. And so that's where some of the consulting started to happen, kind of part-time, trying to figure out where I was going to be spending my time, and then decided to kind of go all in on subscription prescription. By this point, we decided to launch this podcast to run alongside the newsletter. The newsletter's coming up on 3 years. The podcast is about 1.5 years old at this point. And taking a lot of these learnings and workings that we did with QPilot and then starting to get more and more into Shopify businesses, spending time with all of this different subscription apps, from Recharge to Appstol to Skio to Loop to Stay, Smarter, Subify, who's now Subby, so many options out there, and trying to understand this stuff. And honestly, what had come out of all of this research and all of this work, all this consulting stuff, has come out of all of it is this methodology, this idea that subscriptions for your brand do not start at the point of purchase. Subscriptions is not a retention game. Retention is just part of subscriptions. Subscriptions are a sales channel. They are a method of enabling repeat purchases for your customers. They are not the holy grail. They are not the end all. They are just another method of trying to sell to people. And if you can start to see subscriptions as how you bring people in, how you acquire those subscribers, has a direct impact on how long they stay and how much value they get from the subscription over time. And that's kind of the core or the heart of our methodology. When we work with brands, we're trying to help them figure that out. So I don't really necessarily talk a ton on here about our services, because I feel like you are just listening to try to get better at what you're doing. But I will share that a lot of the work that we do is actually starts at the buy box. We're looking at on-site purchase experiences. We're creating new designs to try to improve average order value, to improve conversion rates, and then ultimately trying to create a better purchase option that also improves retention for you at the same time. We do a lot around communications, marketing, email, messaging, how we're onboarding subscribers, upcoming billing notifications. And then very obviously, we do a ton within the subscription app itself, making sure it's configured properly, optimized, spending a lot of time fighting churn, using cancellation reasons and different cancellation offers. So we like to think that we are touching from end to end, from purchase all the way to cancel and win back. We get into unboxing experiences, all kinds of things, with the end goal of helping you figure out how to do a better job at subscriptions. And for me personally, it's been such an amazing journey to see this business start to grow, and the clients and the people that we're able to hire and work with, because this is my passion. It's actually helping people, even more than just subscriptions. My passion is I just love figuring out hard things and then helping other people understand hard things. So I could probably be doing this in shipping or in CRO or, maybe life coaching or something like that. But for me right now, as part of my story, it is inside subscriptions, because I just love this space and I love helping people understand this. And it's often just small little tweaks to your program that helps unlock better growth, better profitability and revenue for your business. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about that, learning about how you could potentially work with us, please feel free to reach out. If you're getting the newsletter, you can go ahead and hit reply to that, or go ahead and shoot me a DM on LinkedIn or Twitter. If you're not following me on either of those platforms right now, I do put out daily content related to subscriptions, ideas, best practices, kind of challenging sometimes the status quo. I try not to ruffle feathers too much because I'm not an internet troll, but I definitely do try to call out things that I think are a little bit BS in the space when I see them. So that's kind of it for this week's dose. Just wanted to share a little bit more with you. I guess I should share too that I also have a 4-month-old son now. That same woman I mentioned at the beginning of the story, we've been married Now have a kid together, and 2 beautiful stepkids as well. So it's been an amazing journey for me, and I'm so happy to have been sharing with all of you along the way. So that's it for this week's dose. Stay tuned to next week for another episode of Subscription Prescription. That's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe so that you can get notified when new episodes come out each week on Tuesdays.